Hello everyone, welcome back to the Lord of the Rings Online, the SLOTRO edition, the SLOTRO 2 edition in fact. We've got Gnomadan here. Say hello to everyone, Gnomadan. Good boy. When we last left off, we were here on the edge of Bree and the Bree Fields, talking to Chief Watcher Grimbriar, getting a couple of quests for him. He's wanting us to head down the Greenway to the south and scout out the Andrath, where some of Sharky's men have set up a fortification. But before we do that, we're going to run over here and see what Watcher Rosecane has, since his has lit up.
Can I speak with you a moment?
All right, he's got one needing to do down there as well, the flow of goods. If you are going into the heart of the brigands' encampment here in Breland, can you search for the goods they have stolen from the surrounding farms and from shipments along the roadway? While Bree is not suffering terribly at the moment, it is only a matter of time before the current stores are empty. If the brigands continue their assaults, then there will be no food, ale, or anything to appease the Bree folk, and then we will have much more to worry about. Will you not look for the stolen goods while in their camp? Collect 12 stolen goods. We can certainly do that while they're in their camp, but before we do that, we are going to take off and head down to, well, let's turn this on. I'm always forgetting to find the path. Let's get our fast run turned on. We are going to head over to the other side of Bree because we have several quests that are level 14 if we pull them up here. We got Neekers in the Marshes, we've got Scouting the Marshes, 2 Chieftains, Dwarf Made Blade, and the prologue, Chasing Amdir, are all level 14. So we're going to go take care of those first and spend some time over in the Midgewater Marshes for a bit. So I will see y'all after we pass through Bree and pass through Stattle. Go through Bree and through the Stattle, and as you see, it's a glorious Breland morning here, glorious Middle-earth morning. And I'll catch y'all whenever we're passing probably passing Mr. Swatmidge's house over on the other side. So I'll see y'all there. We are in Stattle here at, I suppose this would be a bandstand, I suppose, in the middle of the town here. And we have run into Cerbeth Lowbanks has a quest as we passed by. And her quest is a level 15.
Would I take a moment of your time?
Building the Bree Homestead.
Excuse me a moment, but can I beg a favor of you? I have this work order for materials and labor over in the Bree community that I need delivered immediately to confirm our work dates with the purchaser. I know this isn't much notice, but I can pay you well for your trouble. I just need you to take this to Nan Hinwood over by the gates of the community, a little ways southeast of here, east of those old ruins.
Bring the work order to Nan Hinwood. All right, we can certainly do that. We will go ahead and accept it. Building the Bree Homestead. I think we've possibly done this before on Narwhal. I know there was a quest there's 2 quests we passed in Bree. That one was about dealing with the homestead, and one was, I think that was to go down there and take a tour of the homestead, and another one that was to go down to the Bay of Bephalis and to check out and do the quest down there in the deluxe homesteads down there in Gondor. But we will possibly pick those up as we go along, but I wanted to go down and hit the ones down here at the Midgewater Marshes first and have them taken care of and see how they go. Mr. Dogwart, I'm coming by here to see if there's any of these have the quest popped up on them. Alright, we do have a circle down here. We do have another rings. Coming by Mr. Swatmidge's head. What is it that you're needing to have done, Mr. Swatmidge?
I hope it's not a bother, but may I speak with you?
Level 10. Wow, how did we miss the level 10, you think? Widow's Farmhand.
This is a fine farm, wouldn't you say? Yes, life has been kind to me. My only regret is that I haven't anyone to share it with. I think you might be able to help me if you have a mind. The widow Froghorn lives up the hill to the west, and she's a fine lady, but she won't hear of me courting her. I've been sending letters to her for a while now, asking her to tea, to the dance, to watch over my dog, but she refuses every time. Now, Widow Froghorn, Asphodel is her right name, is always needing help around her farm. Maybe if you lend her a hand, saying a kind word about me now and then, she'll change her mind. Go west up the hill, then turn south by the fence at the top. Her farm is at the crossroads. Yes, we've done those, well, I'll say recently on Gnarlo. Recently probably being a year and a half ago, I would imagine. But yeah, we'll take care of those while we've still got level 10. So let's see if we can get those while they are being done. While they are still green and can still give us a little bit of XP. So let's go talk to the Widow Greenhorn. Green Toad? Green Farm? I can't remember right off the moment. I'm going to take off a dwarf-made blade at the moment, just because it is taking place in Bree. So where is it? Widow Farmhand. Let's add that one to the tracker instead. Froghorn, yes. Froghorn Leghorn, of course. Her farm should be right over here. This is the one where, if y'all remember, she is allergic to dogs or something and doesn't like his dog. It has been a while since I lost my Bodo. I'm doing all right.
A lovely day, isn't it?
Who might you be? Another farmhand Eldo sent to help me. I don't need his help, thank you very much, and good day to you. No matter how many times I tell him no, he just won't give up. I swear there's only one thing he loves, and those dogs he raises. If it doesn't bark or have a tail to wag, he doesn't know the first thing about it. Well, you could try barking, you know, and wagging your tail. That might help with him.
Could I take a moment of your time?
The Widow's Pipeweed. I must beg your pardon, but it's been a bit of a trial since I lost my Bodo. If you're here to lend a hand, I won't stop you. The pipeweed is ready for harvest, so if you're still intent on helping out, you can bring it in. It's right there on the other side of the wheat field. But you should know that I'll not change my mind about old Eldo Swatmidge. Collect the pipeweed. Easier enough said than done. Let's just head on through the wheat and get over here and collect... Pipeweed? Where's the pipeweed? This should be the pipeweed, is it not? Pipeweed, pipeweed, which way did we go? Well, did we accept it? Yes, collect pipeweed. Are your farms down this way? Which way are your farms? Why haven't y'all laid out your things in some sort of decent, respectable manner? That should be pipeweed. Right there it is. Why wasn't that showing up? Pipeweed. All this is pipeweed too. Why can't we grab that pipeweed? It has to be this pipeweed. Pipeweed harvested from the Widow Froghorn's field. Here you go, madam. Every week I bring my produce to the town square to sell. I get enough coin to get by. Same thing. All right.
Good day.
I see you've harvested quite a bundle of pipeweed. You have my thanks. A helping hand is appreciated no matter where it comes from. You say Eldo is a good, solid hobbit. You would say that, I suppose, being in his employ. Asphodel takes the pipeweed and hands you a folded, sealed note. Take this back to your good, solid friend, and don't read it. Okay, let's deliver the letter. And not being a good, solid friend, we'll probably read the letter before we get there. In fact, now that we're out of vision of both of them, let's take a look at it. Ah! It's not there. You actually delivered it here. It's an actual letter. Mr. Swatmidge, I trust that you are well, and I thank you for sending someone to help out around my farm. Those bears have become most importunate. Importunate. Okay. But not as importunate is you, sir. I must regretfully, yet forcefully, refuse your many recent proposals on courtship. I must ask that you abandon this pursuit and bid you good day. Asphodel Froghorn. Let's see if we can seal it up back right quick. Of course, Eldo will probably be so thankful for a letter, he'll just snatch it out of our hand without paying any attention to the condition of it first.
Terrible. Just terrible.
You're back. How did it go? What's this? Refused again? Well, I'm not going to give up. If you go back and tell her some more of my good qualities, I'm sure she'll reconsider. I'm sure of it. Did you mention how hard-working I am? I'm an honest fellow and good to my dogs. They say you can judge the worth of a hobbit by how he treats his dogs, and I treat mine like royalty. If you go help her out around the farm some more, and be sure to mention that, like royalty. Yes, I can tell that. Juanetta, that's her name.
Might I trouble
Juanetta.
you for some help?
Quality and character.
Asphodel mentioned in her letter that there are bears wandering closer and closer to her farm. Maybe this is a clue that she needs some help with them. Would you make your way into the woods south of her farm and drive the bears away? That might show her I'm willing to see her safely and show how caring I can be. When you're done, tell her.
Defeat 6 bears near the widow Asphodel's farm. Okay. You know, dude, this was done in... Was it Some Kind of Wonderful? Was that the 80s movie where the guy goes and he refuses to take no to for an answer? In fact, going to the point where he stands outside her window with a big old boombox blasting out music until she comes to the door and agrees to, like, go with him, you know? It's one of those films that, you know, in the time since then has been pointed out of, you know, stalking. That, yeah, things that were seen in the 1980s is part of the whole thing of privilege. That, yes, the 1980s, that was seen as, oh, isn't that showing how much he loves her? And it was like, no, that was basically called stalking. And let's be sure there's both on the other side, because many people pointed out that, you know, one of, not the Bristle High, one of Taylor Swift's early songs, you know, the one about how you belong with me. I'm the one who knows that you shouldn't hang out with that cheerleader. That I'm the one that you should be hanging out with, and the one who truly understands you, and she's not good enough for you. And, you know, it's very much a stalker anthem there. To the point where I wouldn't be surprised if one day that cheerleader goes missing and they find her tied up to a kitchen chair in that lady's, you know, basement. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. So I'm sure this seemed like quite the fun one at the time, but yeah. Mr. Swapmidge has got a little bit of the stalker refusing to take no for an answer in him, doesn't he? Alright, 2 more bears. And then we can go up there and hopefully not get a request to throw her in a bag and bring her back to his house. Because if she would just see how nice he is, and just see how nice he treats all his dogs, and if she would just give him a chance, I'm sure that if he kept her tied up in the back room for a little while, a few weeks maybe, and showed her, you know, firsthand just how nicely a person he was, she would come to her senses. Don't you think? I'm sure of it. Alright, here's our last one. I'm surprised. Is this the first one that we've actually gotten combat music on? I think it was. Alright, Miss Swap Midge. We still have our... Yep, we still got our Find the Path plus 15% running speed. Oh no, it just feels so slow. Always does when you don't have the novices mark on there. I think it adds an 8% as well. Alright, Miss Swap Midge.
How do you do?
Sent you again, did he? That Eldo Swap Midge is certainly persistent, I'll give him that at least. He's honest, too. I'm glad you shared that information, Gnomadan, because it's certainly important. Or perhaps it isn't. Tell him that I appreciate the help around here, but my answer is still no.
I think we will finish up the Swap Midge saga here. Silliness between Swap Midge and Miss Froghorn here. I wonder what Gammy Boggs... After we're through, I'm going to go up there and have some tea with Gammy Boggs. And we're going to sit and discuss the absolutely ridiculous courtship rituals of the younger bunch of hobbits around here. Because even though Eldo is obviously turning into a silver fox, and she's obviously a widow, they're still younger than Gammy,
Please,
so
leave me to my sorrow.
Gammy can certainly talk about them and how ridiculous they are.
Still no. She is fickle, to be sure, but she's the finest lady in Staddle. Well, regardless, I think you've made another fine impression. You're doing wonderfully,
I'm sure
Gnomadan.
it's a bother, but I could use your help.
Farmer's Market.
Asphodel keeps her farm going by selling her goods at the farmer's market. I made a deal with Hemlock Grouse to pay double what others pay for her fresh vegetables. Could you go to her farm, collect the produce she means to sell, and deliver it to Hemlock? Be sure to return the money to her when you are done.
Collect the produce. Paying double?
I'm sorry, my thoughts were elsewhere.
What are you doing to be able to afford to pay double? So, whenever you are collecting people and keeping them tied up in your back room to show them how much you appreciate your dogs, you're what, collecting their jewelry and their pocket change and pulling their gold teeth out while you're at it? Good grief, yeah, this Staddle is an interesting place. I think these people live a little too close to the Midgewater marshes. It's starting to send them a little funny. Alright, let's run over here and let's talk to Mr. Hemlock. I would just skip there, but we're, as we said before, going through some of my favorite little pathways of the whole Shire and Breland area. We've got these wonderful paths with the little lanterns and the trees planted along them like this. Built a place like this way back in one of the sections of Minecraft way back in the day. Way back in the day. We had a part, I'll have to see if I can find that world sometime. Where it's one where Keeber cut down a forest to build a gigantic tree. He was always fond of his gigantic trees, and I built a path that led from his place to my place, all lined with trees like that, with torches on the side to act as lanterns as you went along. Here's Hemlock. How come you don't have a ring over your head, Hemlock? Interesting.
If you need something, speak up.
Wasn't it supposed to be there? Let's look again. Isn't it Hemlock? Eldo Swap Midge. Collect the produce. Collect it. Who are we collecting it from? Hemlock. Yeah, collect it from Hemlock Grouse. Why is it you don't have a ring popping up over your head? We did this. It's sitting here. It's ready to go.
Why are you bothering me?
Huh. Is there just a thing of produce laying about? We gotta collect Froghorn's produce. Gotta collect the produce from her. Alrighty. It's distracted by the beauty and the memories of Minecraft. Which I think I may play after this. I may hop in over there and work on the museum some. Let's go talk to Asphodel. Good grief. Keep your brain. See what having to do. You've been standing here for an awful long time. You were standing here when we first ran by. Interesting. Keep your mind on the prize here, Gnomadan. Let's try and remember what we're doing. We're setting up. Well, not setting them up. We're doing silliness between a couple of hobbits who are old enough to know better.
A lovely day, isn't it?
Eldo didn't send a layabout, did he? And he's kind to his dogs. How about that? Since you've already proven yourself so useful, why not take this into Staddle and sell it to Hemlock Grouse? He'll be in the town square, most likely. Maybe then we continue our discussion of Eldo's Swapmidge's good qualities, of which I am sure you would tell me there are many. Yes, indeed. All right, we'll see you when we get back to Mr. Grouse over there. Sounds like she actually has a fairly reasonable, it's him that's being the stalker, but we know how this is going to turn out, don't we? I'll see y'all again in just a second. And we're back finally, and he has a ring over his head. And let's see. A basket of vegetables produced on the widow Asphodel's farm. So let's do farmer's
Can't
market.
a body be left alone?
So, you've got some produce for sale from the Widow Foghorn, do you? And I'll be taking it, and here's the payment. And before you start thinking I've gone soft in the head, that's double what I usually pay. Eldo Swapmitch and I have a standing agreement on account of he asked me to pay double for any of the widow's produce, then he gives me the difference. It's true what they say, a hobbit in love don't have no hobbit sense at all. You bring that payment back to the Widow Foghorn, and don't mention the agreement I've got with Swapmidge. That's part of the whole arrangement. Yeah, well, you've definitely got the brains. Someone has sense around here, and I'm afraid poor Miss Asphodel's is going to be sliding. Let's get back to her and complete this part of it. Back to the Widow Foghorn, back past all the pipeweed. Let's turn these in.
How do you do?
This seems like a bit much. Are you sure Hemlock gave you the right amount? No, don't tell me. I have a feeling Eldo's Swapmidge might have something to do with Hemlock's generosity. We actually got a reward, which means we're getting close.
Might I have a word with you?
We're getting close to the end. Juanetta the Wedge. I am surprised at how earnest Eldo seems to be. Perhaps I should give him a chance. A courtship could be just the thing to brighten my days. Tell him that I'll consider his courting me, but he'll need to sell his dog, Juanetta. I always come down... Excuse me, I should scratch my nose here and push the glasses out of the way. I always come down with the sneezes whenever I'm around dogs of her breed, and it is really unbearable. Hurry back with his answer. Oh, I'm a flutter like a little hobbit girl. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yep, told you. The whole kind of consideration there of, all you have to do is just continue stalking and courting and making a major gigantic nuisance of yourself, and eventually you'll wear down the resistance of the person that you're courting, the person you're obsessed with, and they will eventually give you a chance and fall in love with you. It's been taught to little girls and...
Whoa, it's me.
Taught to little girls in practically every romantic comedy out there. That taught to boys and girls that, all you have to do is just be persistent enough and just be a big enough nuisance, and eventually they'll realize that what a good person you are. No, give it up. They said no. Understand what no means. Sell Juanetta? I can't. I've had Juanetta here since she was a pup. She's given me litter after litter of good strong pups. She's my prized dog. I can't sell her. If she were a hobbit and I was a dog, she wouldn't sell me, I know it. If that's what Asphodel wants, tell her I can't. I can't do it. Looks like I won't ever be courting the Widow Foghorn. Please don't think me ungrateful for what you've done, but I just can't lose my Juanetta.
At least we know this is our last trip back and forth here. Talk to the silly widow. Give her the message from the silly Eldo. And then we'll be done with this one. And next week, we can go into the Midgewater Marshes. And finish up with the Neekers and the Scouting and the Chieftains. And find out what's going on with Amdir. Remember Amdir? Yeah. I remember Amdir.
How do you do?
It has been a while. At least 30-something episodes, I imagine. One out of the wedge.
What? He won't sell that dog? Now I want him courting me even more. What loyalty, and not even to a person. You were right all along, Gnomadan. Eldo Swapmidge might not be the most well-dressed hobbit in Staddle, or even the most well-spoken, but he's a good, hard-working, loyal fellow. And apparently he's rich to boot, if he can pay twice as much for my vegetables. Maybe someday there will be a cure for the sneezes I get around that breed of dog, and then not even one netta will keep me from my Eldo. Please go tell him at once, Gnomadan.
Rollin', rollin', rollin'. Keep these doggies rollin'. Rollin', rollin', rollin'. Rawhide. I have to see if I can find a whip crack sound insert in there. That's what it feels like. It feels like I've had the whip cracked across my back more times than enough. But this is going to be the end of it. I'm going to lay down here and take a nap with you, Juanetta. I'm tired too.
Please, leave me to my sorrow.
And I'll bet I know what's tired you out. Really? Eldo looks to Juanetta. Did you hear that, Juanetta? Asphodel said yes. Gnomadan, I don't know if this is thanks enough for what you've done for me. Take this and know that it'll be everything I promised Asphodel and more. Lover's shield, which we can't use. The Lover's helm, which is nowhere near as good as Avonhar. And the Lover's mantle, which isn't as good as the Harbinger's. So, after all that, we'll take the shield, since it's the vendor trash. Oh, me. So there you go. We have completed the little love-struck story between Eldo and the widow once again. So I thank y'all for coming along. Gnomadan thanks y'all too. And we appreciate it. I hope y'all have enjoyed this. Hope you found it entertaining. Thank y'all for coming along. And we will catch y'all next time. And I'm going to take a nap here with Juanetta. So we'll see y'all then. Thanks for coming, and bye-bye.